I don't even rely on my cleric because spellcasting low level kind of bogus. It's real easily I mean, there's like a D6 or something of health plus. It's really easy this low roll. The gnome portrait. Oh yeah, I clicked on it. I was like, yeah, we're just gonna be a chaotic dude. We got Svetlana's ring. Let's go give it to her. Found your ring, Svetlana. Kressel, the bandit woman who had it, tried to kill me and died in the fight. I suppose I should tell you the truth about her. Kressel wasn't her real name. Her real name was Irena, before all this. She was the daughter of my mother and her second husband, my half-sister. I can't help but feel like everything that happened to her was my fault. She always had a wildness to her. She'd wander the streets hanging out with a bad crowd, until the day she passed. Mother complained about Irena constantly. Back then it was just cruel games and strange escapades. She never really hurt anyone back in Rostov. Her father didn't live much longer than our mother, so I decided to try to help Irena. I brought her here to the Stolen Lands, though Oleg was against it, and once here she immediately fell under the Stag Lord's influence. She never even needed to meet him. The stories and rumors from local hunters and bandits were enough to win her over. She would tell us how he was a real leader, unlike Rostov's softies. Bandits were eventually she ran away, only to return under a new name with a pack of thugs to collect taxes from us. What's worse, she participated in the torture and execution of prisoners alongside the Stag Lord's minions. And now, meeting such an end, I realize you did what you had to. Perhaps it's all for the best. Still, I wonder if everything could have turned out differently. Svetlana lifts her head. Thank you for returning my ring to me. I really, truly appreciate it. Now if you don't mind, I think I'd like to be alone for a little while. Thinking of going with the sorcerer or necromancer. Can you do necromancy? Wait, is necromancy like a legitimate build in this game? If it is, I need to do a run like that at some point. Ooh, there's... ugh. Okay. Abandoned hut. Where is... There we go. We're gonna go for Tusk Gutter. Oh wait, no we're not. I just remembered we want to go here.
Resting would be nice, don't you think?
The more I travel, the more I'm sure. True nobleness is not inherited. Every other smug dimwit with a Marquess title has worse manners than his horse.
We're gonna go get our 5th teammate. I read a comment where you can enchant your skeletons. What? You can make skeletons and you can enchant them? I enchant my skeletons with blinding days.
I'll carve my name onto your flesh. Let the attack commence.
Oh, she cast it enlarge.
Stay behind me!
Yes! Who did she cast Enlarged Person on?
Tear them apart!
He's down for the count still. Stop hitting her! Oh my.
Let us strike as one.
Well, you gotta cure wounds.
Yes.
It's a little something. Another bomb. Yes! 8 damage. We can worry about the archers later. Yeah, we can worry about them later.
They go down!
Nice.
I'll survive.
That's not nice.
I always survive.
He's not dazed. Yeah. Sorcerers are... Okay, I think sorcerers are better than wizards just because of the fact that you can use any spell with your spell slots, but wizards you have to prepare a spell and only use it once in between rest.
Serves you right.
Wait. Did we miss timing on something here?
May I see your entrails, please?
I thought there was supposed to be like an extra character waiting here or something. I guess we just missed them.
Do not falter.
Point blank like a crazy man.
You deserved it.
Ah, so I missed my chance. Well, I didn't even think about that.
What's that? You see that?
I failed. I'm sorry. Applause, please.
The basic role of a druid? I know in D&D, druids can be tanks. How sweet! The first breath of fresh air after the stale, damp stuffiness of that tomb. Before us stretched an unending heath, replete with hills and gullies and patches of low shrubs. Already the trail of Tartusio and his companions have gone cold. But we'd not give up so easily. Whether the trail went cold or not, it was one we had to follow. No blade of grass was bent. It must have had enough time to straighten back up since whoever last passed through. But the heath's dry earth preserved the prints of little shoes. Our eyes to the ground, we followed the trail. We walked and walked until finally we came to a huge gully. The dried up bed of a river of yore. But what is this? At the edge, the grass was trampled down and the soil turned up, and claw prints, lots of them. We stumbled upon a fresh battlefield, and here the trail split. One set of footprints walked away from the battle and down into the gully. The brave footsteps that faced down their enemies followed the path along its edge. Tartusio. We tried to imagine who or what left those claw marks. And here the trail split. Let's see, the claw marks were not deep. The attackers were small and lean, and more of these creatures walked on two legs. Finally, the form of the prince left no doubt in our minds. We'd stumbled onto kobold lands. What do we choose? We discovered traces of a spell, apparently from the Illusion School of Magic, near where the lonely trail descended into the gully. We examined the path that snaked along the gully. The path was frequently used. In its dust we saw both sets of footprints together. It was clear that those who had no claws left the battle surrounded by those that did. At first, the path went right along the steep edge, but soon it turned, circling around a thick and prickly bush. No sooner had we turned than we ran into a band of kobolds who were approaching from the opposite direction. If there were any more footsteps on the path, the kobolds surely trampled them. But we had no time to concern ourselves with that. Combat!
We will prevail.
Oh yeah, no, the guys who make this game, like, I would not expect them to half-ass the port at all. Whew.
All I see is blackness. Bring it!
Oh yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 comes out next month on September 30th, right Keith?
Any last wishes?
Oh, is all of this blood mine? Never thought I had that much. Burn! Slice! Behead!
Ona Adayana.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to stream Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, if I don't stream it, I'll at least record it and put it on my YouTube channel. I feel glad that I started posting on it again.
Tear them apart!
Yeah, like I just finished Hitman 1 and 2 and I'm uploading both parts to YouTube as we speak.
Onward!
But I know that in between me, if I beat this game before Baldur's Gate 3, I will definitely
Stay behind me.
I will definitely stream Divinity 2 again from beginning and beat it finally.
This is where I step in.
Alright.
Die! Die! Die!
Is Baldur's Gate 3 co-op? Ever tried the cross stream on YouTube, like stream on Twitch and YouTube at the same time? I can't do that actually. I am an affiliate. You know, I got the sub button, and according to the rules of Twitch, anything I stream on Twitch has to stay on Twitch for 24 hours before I'm allowed to post it anywhere else.
They go down!
Yeah, it's all good, sweet. Dude, Keith, if it's co-op, we're playing that shit together, alright? Like, damn, man.
Let us strike as one! Ha!
I'm excited for Baldur's Gate 3 because it's from what we've seen, it's so faithful to regular D&D.
Serves you right.
Let the attack commence.
I can't keep this up much longer.
Bring it!
I mean, if it comes out on console, that'd be really cool too, sweet. I mean, they're probably going to release it for console. I mean, Divinity 1 and Divinity 2 were released again on the console later on in their lifespan. Alright, I need a rest. See, that's weird that Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 are on console. I've seen Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 gameplay, and it just seems so weird.
Vows made in silence, hoping and daring.
We can hope so, Keith.
That rhyme is rubbish. I know all the words. Why is it so hard to put them together?
Yo, we just hit 20 viewers, guys. Nice. Alright, I'm gonna have to some healing potions. There's some games that need to stay on PC. One game that has a little odd working on console is like the XCOM series. Huge fan of XCOM 1 and 2. I've put many hours into it, never beaten the games. Straight up, never beaten them. We walked across the heath for a long time, yet no sights sprang up before our eyes. By turns, we discovered a verdant lowland with several near-about springs streaming down behind another hillside. And then in the distance, in the center of the lowland among the bush, there stood a single dry tree, a true giant. Its magnificent outline resembled an animal's paw clawing at the sky. What was truly remarkable, the flat landscape was dotted by mysterious dark humps. They were piled about the height of a man and scattered around in abundance. Oh yeah, my merch store, that thing exists. Only one person's ever bought anything from my merch store, don't worry about it. We'll explore the lowlands. The further we trekked, the softer the land became. Step by step, heath grass gave way to moss, low-growing shrubs and ferns, and then sloshy puddles of stinky swamp water. The muddy ground sucked at our feet, and soon our party was just jumping from hassock to hassock. Finally, we reached the first group of mysterious humps, and learned they were no mere hills, but dugout dwellings. We moved with great care towards the center of the lowland, and there the real swamp began. On the way toward the mysterious giant tree, we saw the foggy outline of another hut. This one much bigger and surrounded by small clay statues. Let's see. I mean, they'll probably add it later, Keith. If they don't add it in the original. Examine the surroundings, so we should not. We would not retreat, and moved ever forward toward the tall tree, determined to visit the big hut on our way there. We walked slowly, carefully, choosing our way, keeping the drier ground as much as possible. The further we went, the more difficult it became. Soon we were wading waist deep through the cattails. Frogs croaked loudly as we peered anxiously into the cloudy water, struggling to make out what shadows flitted along the bottom. Suddenly Valerie staggered, spit out an oath, and fled her arms. She made a wrong step. Unable to pull out her foot, she called out loudly and began to sneak into the vile green slush. Wary of another of us getting sucked into the bog, we decided to form a living chain. Standing next to each other and holding hands, we began to pull out our fellow traveler. Valerie's head was sucked below the deathly, ickly water, but our hands were just in time. We pulled all our strength and she emerged, gasping above the frothy muck. Valerie was green by the time we lifted her out, but found the strength to thank us when she caught her breath. The insatiable bog gurgled hungrily after us, but we didn't look back. Sodden and weary, we finally made it back to solid ground, and a palace of sorts rose above our eyes. A spacious hut, made of mud like the rest, but decorated with pebbles, bones, cattail spikes, and snail shells. In front of the palace was a wide and shallow reservoir. Its green water reflected the leaves of huge ferns and primitive clay figurines. The buzzing of gnats was nearly deafening. We were not far to the center of the swamp, and a firm and steady path led there through the thick brushes. At this end, that tall, dry tree stretched mightily upwards, clawing at the firmament. Carefully examined the clay figurines, trying to fathom who they might portray. Goggle eyes, flat heads with no necks, ears, or chins, ugly lawn legs unnaturally bent. These sculptures could only be the work of boggards, primitive, cruel boggard tribes that inhabited the swamps of Garoon and Avistan since the olden days. Pitiless to others, to each other, they were led by the darker instincts of their insane priest-kings. They are known to grow young fry in the pools inside the houses. The buzzing and that stuff. Okay. We peeked inside the hut. The palace was twice the height of our other huts. Its entrance was wide enough that 3 could walk abreast. The walls were decorated. An unknown builder had scratched drawings in the clay while it was still wet. The faded scrawl depicted huge amphibians devouring smaller figures, some frog-headed, others not. 3 of the 4 rooms boasted large holes filled with water, just like the other dwellings, though here there were steps descending into them, cut into the dirt. In the furthest room we found equipment decorating the walls, leather armor, spears, clubs. To our surprise, a number of items were well preserved. The hut was clearly deserted, so we felt no shame in taking some of it with us. It was ever so lovely to walk once again along the well-trodden path. Our soaked clothes imagined being dry, and our mood at once lifted. The bushes that bordered the path seemed to wave at us amiably, with their juicy green leaves and shiny bright red berries. A fresh wind puffed away the rotten smell, and it finally felt the swamp might be nearly behind us. But then the wind stopped blowing, and the thorny branches continued to move, and we heard a loud shout. Valerie, who was watching our rear, pointed to a surging, crawling wall of green, filling in the path behind us. The surrounding thicket was coming to life. Its branches reached out with a soft, swishing sound. Drops of sap oozed from their thorns, gleaming in the emerald dusk. The path was disappearing. There was no way back, and the clear space ahead was closing. Dude, there's not even that much to read in this game, to be honest. Like, they say a lot of the stuff. Let's see. We ran forward as fast as our legs could carry us, flying towards the closing passage. As any experienced traveler could tell you, sometimes you walk and sometimes you run. The branches snatched at our backpacks and clothes, and the sprouts tangled at our feet, but we slipped their grasp. We were too quick. Finally, after what seemed an endless trek, we came upon the gigantic dry tree that had so intrigued us from the beginning. Lo and behold, we saw an idol cut into its trunk, a huge horned, three-eyed toad. Its googly eyes made it look like both cruel and dumb, almost idiotic. Its muzzle hung half open, sharp-toothed with several hanging tongues. Deep brown streaks oozed from the corner of its mouth. We tried to glean what sort of idol it might be. Shit. Sadly, we failed to glean upon whom the idol was devoted to, but was it surely not one of the lighter gods? But what is this? While we examined the idol, a large, bright blue dragonfly came out of a hollow in the tree and sat invitingly on the very tip of one of our noses. It was so remarkably strange it didn't react to our movements, and seemed quite content to say it sat where it was. Burn that tree thing with fire! Suddenly, Box grabbed the dragonfly and held it in front of his mouth. Oh gods, did he just decide to eat it? Boom! I heard a wet crunch, and I winced before I could look. I turned around, hearing a faint cry. Box had turned white and started to collapse. We barely had time to catch him. After returning to life in a few hours, he told us amazing things. It turns out that Bogard's priest ate blue dragonflies to fall into hypnotic trances, where they could hear the will of the goddess, the demon lord Gogunta, the creator of all Bogard kind. In his dream, Box saw ancient times, how the Bogards built their settlements, how they raided the neighbors and enslaved their children, how they held bloody rituals to honor bloated amphibian monsters, the roar of their laughter throughout the dark centuries. He saw a priest bury a stash of plundered jewelry in his hut, rather than offering it to his cruel goddess. In return, the wrathful Gogunta set a horrible plague upon his tribe, and that priest would be their last. He turned around to leave the abominable swamp. The flesh-eating bush grew quiet and gave way. On the journey back, we were sure to look inside the priest's hut and dig out the treasure that had once wiped out this entire tribe. Boom!